countess. Who?
I'm literally miserable.
We're not friends.
Joggers. Excuse me?
Who said that? Who said that?
Hello everybody and welcome to the Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and in this channel I talk about the two loves of my life, editing and housewives. Yes, I have a husband and 3 children. Let's get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about the scene in the most recent episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta where Kandi and Kenya and Kandi's friend are sitting at a candle making place. In this scene, Kenya and Kandi start having sort of a little bit of an altercation about Kandi's use of the vibrating underwear in New York and how Kenya just completely disagreed with it and how Kandi was like, you need to relax. The reason why I want to talk about it is how the editors used music to make that fight seem a little bit more dramatic. Would I say this season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta is the most dramatic season so far? Absolutely not. We can all agree to that. Is it a great season? I think it's great. I personally am really involved in the Ralph of it all. I don't know about you guys, but I still feel like we haven't totally unwrapped that onion, and the Ralph and the Drew of it all, just in how she's like, everything's fine, but everything's not fine. And he is so just deceptive in my mind.
Talk anymore? I never said we don't talk anymore. I just said we're not doing business.
Okay. So y'all do still talk?
I said I'm no longer going to work with her anymore.
I was listening to Bitch Sesh. I think it was last season when Ralph was first introduced. They had Rana Glickman on, who is actually Jessica Chaffin. Jessica/Rana said,
The only note I wrote down was, I hate a man on best behavior.
She was talking about Ralph, and that is just the best way to explain it. When the cameras are on and he thinks he's like, you know, the smartest guy in the room and he's on his best behavior trying to be all this and that for us and maybe for her friends, but we just know there's so much going on underneath that. But I would say the drama, sort of the heaviness of some of the seasons past, isn't quite there this season. So I want to point out to you to show you guys how the Bravo editors used music in this scene to sort of make this fight or argument between Kandi and Kenya a little bit more dramatic. I'll show you right now. Let's watch.
You guys can take this out of your jar, and I actually already drew a measurement line for where your scents will fill up to. Now I'll be back to check on you guys.
Perfect. What's going on with Drew? I mean, did you get that invitation?
Yeah.
I thought, just as a quick side note, I thought it was so random how they put the Chiron down there telling the candle steps. Like they were like, candle step 2, fill up your scents in this cup. I actually thought it was actually just something kind of comical that the editors put in and they decided to keep it, which I like that kind of humor. Totally random, loved it.
How was the honeymoon?
Baby, we was honeymooning.
Did you pull out those bedroom candy products your homegirl bought?
No, I did.
Oh, don't get me started on those products.
No, I gotta tell her what you did. Tell me if you would have had a problem with this.
Okay.
I had gave them all vibrating panties, right? And you know,
Okay, so it starts right here, right? So the thing that the editors do very specifically in the Housewives when they're using music is they use music to cue you. Now, this is something that every single movie you watch, every single TV show, everything you ever watch, music is there to cue you. The lack of music is there to cue you, and the presence of music, whatever music they decide to choose, when I say to cue you, is to give you sort of a feeling of what's about to come. Think of sort of like a horror movie, which is where I got my start when I was working at an editorial at Sony. When you think of a horror movie and it's sort of an intense, scary scene, right? They kind of have that suspenseful build-up music without any big cacophonous sound yet because they want you to feel the intensity of that moment. They want you to be on the edge of your seat. Sometimes they'll even pull music out so there's no music, so it's totally silent while the tension is building. And then when the tension releases, meaning, you know, the guy jumps out of the closet or whatever, they put on music and it's big and the chase is on. Kenya's like, oh, don't even get me started with the bedroom candy products. And then Kandi's like, okay, well, let's get into this story. Let's clue in my friend. She said, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna tell you about this.
tell me if you would have had a problem with this.
Okay.
I had gave them all vibrating panties.
You can hear in the music how they kind of put this little jaunty beat behind it. And right before that, it had been a little bit more like, you know, she was celebrating with her friend, like, oh, you were honeymooning, whatever. She was celebrating with her. And so the music was a little bit just like, you know, fun. And now it's sort of dun, 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 dun. So it's getting us, as the audience, we're kind of in this mindset of leaning in. Like, it's just a vamp to kind of get you in a mode of like, oh, something's about to happen. Something's about to happen. So that's what we're getting into here.
And you know the vibrating fan is come with a remote.
Yes.
Each of the husbands had a remote.
Let me say this. If you come too close,
I love how she said the vibrating underwear comes, I can't say that word. I'm sorry, guys. It's just like, I just hate that word. There's certain words. Anyway, she says it comes with a remote and her friend's like, yes.
Yes.
Like so serious about this topic. It cracks me up. Okay.
you come too close, that husband can buzz my underwear.
Well, the thing.
Wait, hold on.
So that was kind of funny. So the music stopped right when Kenya said, that husband can buzz my underwear. Kenya uses underwear too. The music stops.
That husband can buzz my underwear.
They put in a little buzz in there just as sort of like a reminder, sort of like a funny little button to the bit. When they end it there and Kenya's words end that sequence there, music stops. So that's giving a cue to us as the audience to go like, oh, so the story is complete there, right? So before it was dun, 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 dun. Well, Kandi's kind of talking, right? And so we're leaning in like, oh, what is gonna happen? She's telling her friend, what's her friend gonna think? And when Kenya says this, music stops, sort of like, record scratch type of feeling.
I'm gonna send a naked clown to give you an invite when Blaze is at home.
I would send Blaze back, and I would continue to laugh at your invite.
Yeah, right. No, she would not.
If you sit up here and tell me,
So that's why they did it, right? They put that chyron in there. I didn't see that before right now, but they put the chyron in there. It said step 3 of the candle making process, pause for argument. That's why they were putting the steps in. That's hilarious. It's just for us, sort of adds a little bit of levity to the scene, adds some lightness to the scene. If they didn't want to add lightness to the scene, for instance, if it was a scene with Marlo talking about her sister, oh my God, break my heart, they wouldn't joke like that. Those chyrons are a great example or a great cue to us also that this is sort of light and breezy.
sit up here and tell me,
Kandi,
no,
you were wrong.
if you
I want
tell
you to
me
just
about
say you
what
were wrong.
husbands, no, I'm not, because I wasn't.
You were.
Because if you say,
It wasn't right.
oh, you had your husband around and then single people shouldn't eat it.
Yes,
Girl,
it
my
was
husband was there when you said
inappropriate.
that you wanted to have sex.
No, that's not true.
Okay, so now they get to a point where Kandi makes a point, right? Kandi makes a point, and what do you hear when Kandi makes a point? She says, "You were, my husband was right there when you said that." And then the music, boom.
My husband was there when you said that you wanted to have sex.
Just like the other button before when Kenya said something and the editors wanted to cue us that Kenya just made a point.
My underwear.
Now Kandi's made a point, bong. You get that same sort of cue like, ooh, something just came in. Some new information was just revealed.
Our 3 ladies at this table that could get it. Kandi is one.
I said it's because you kept talking about somebody's husband.
And husbands buzzing their pussies all night.
Kenya loves to try to act like, oh, she's so above it all.
Why are you talking about?
Wow, Kenya really lets it all out there with what she's saying. And then I love how they cut to the other table, just sort of like, ooh, like things are getting loud. That's what they're trying to say. Things are getting loud.
So above it all.
Why are you talking about
No
that
husband
person
buzzing
can
my
get it if my
pussy all
husband's
night.
sitting there?
But yet, she's the one in here screaming out loud, yelling about her pussy.
If I can laugh at your joke, laugh
It's
at
not
mine.
a joke.
Well, okay, well, it wasn't a joke when you told me I
Let's
could
do
get
these
it.
candles, y'all. I had to get some wine on that.
Okay, and now you guys can pour it into your silver cup of wax.
Okay, so let's go back to the music a little bit there. So while the scene is heating up between Kandi and Kenya, Kandi is obviously getting very heated, making some good points. Kenya's like, okay, like I have good points too. You know, they're having one of those. In that moment, the music sort of goes into, just like I was saying before with the horror movie, right? After the bad guy, you know, jumps out of the closet or attacks and the chase is on, that's when the music starts to ramp up and get a little excited. Tension obviously is still there, but you can't cut it with a knife. You know, like if the girl is walking up the stairs, you know, looking down a dark hallway where you can cut the tension with a knife.
Who's there? Who's there? I'm calling the police.
Once that tension is released and the chase is on, of course the tension is still there, but the music is sort of like getting the energy up, getting the excitement there, the fear there, all that stuff. And that's exactly what's going on here. So as they're sort of having this little altercation where it's getting more heated and more heated, you can hear the music start to elevate, 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 get more excited, more excited, more excited.
But yeah, she's the one in here screaming out loud, yelling about her pussy.
If I can laugh at your joke, laugh
It's
at
not
mine.
a joke.
Well, okay, well, it wasn't a joke when you told me I could get it.
Candles.
And also, right before the music starts to sort of ramp up, they put some silence in there. And that silence also cues to us like someone just said something big.
If I can laugh at your joke, laugh
It's
at
not
mine.
a joke.
What the editors are doing with the music is really dancing with us. They are dancing with what's going on, with what's going back and forth between Kandi and Kenya.
My underwear.
If I can laugh at your joke, laugh
It's
at
not
mine.
a joke.
The music sort of has this crescendo and then it stops while they're kind of in this big moment, right? If you're thinking about sort of the horror movie example, right? You might have a big moment between the villain and the, protagonist, usually a beautiful woman running away, and then you have a moment where the music stops, and that's kind of what happens between them. When Kenya says, "It's not a joke," and the music is stopped, and they're having this little thing and super getting heated, and then all of a sudden the music comes back in again, but is it sort of loud, exciting, and with tons of energy? No, this music has a sort of more of that original kind of vampy quality.
I had to get some wine on it.
Okay, and now you guys can pour it into your silver cup of wax. Perfect.
And we're back. It's sort of lighthearted and we're back into it. Her friend's like, "Oh, I had to get some wine," so it's a very kind of light moment.
Perfect. And then now you guys can just stir your wax.
Stir the wax.
Yeah. Also, you want to be thinking of what you want to name your candle.
Don't pour no hot wax on me, Kandi.
I can't get over these chirons talking about the steps of the candles just because they had to stop before and say, pause for argument. What I love is the commitment to it. They're like, we have to keep going. I wonder if they're going to do more jokes in it. I can't believe I didn't see this before.
You can't have a yes man as a friend. You gotta be honest. And when you clear the air, then you know how to move.
So there, for me, is Kenya in a nutshell. She can go from a super light moment where she's just kind of like lightly talking to you about something, kind of even joking about it, and then she can effortlessly, I cannot say that word, she can effortlessly move into more of a like, okay, I'm going to address something and I'm going to address something strong. I just love that about her, and she just summed it up right here. She said, "You don't need a yes man as a friend. I'm not just going to sit here and lay down, on my back. I'm going to tell you what I feel. I'm going to make it very clear." She makes her stuff very clear, and then we can actually move forward. I think that's Kenya in a nutshell. I loved that. I don't think this season has the highest drama. So in order to, I don't want to say they're creating drama, but I would say that they are taking scenes that would maybe be like an average sort of regular, talk between the ladies or something a little bit heated, but they're using music to kind of amp up the drama a little bit. Now, in my last episode, I talked about a bad edit and the concept of a bad edit and how, a lot of reality people blame their edit on the editors. They're like, "Oh, they made me look bad," which I think is, just go watch my previous video if you want to know my thoughts on that and what I think that the people who say they got a bad edit are totally missing. You can heighten the drama using music, and if this was the most dramatic season ever, I think personally this scene would have been maybe cut down a little bit, meaning a little bit shorter. That argument between Kandi and Kenya would maybe not have been made such a big deal by cutting to the other people at the other table and, hyping up the music and using the breaks and using the stings. And again, another thing I want to point out is they use those chirons, the candle making steps, to add some levity to the scene, to add some lightness. Again, something they would never do in something that had some real heaviness to it.
Am I gonna name this?
I like it.
Oh, yours smells good. Good, because that's Candy's pussy. You finally got to smell it.
Wow. I just love these ladies so much. Anyway, please subscribe. I have plenty more to come. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and until next time.
Joggers. Excuse me?